This video is sponsored by Flexispot. Every now and then I get questions about what computer I'm using, what the specs are, and what production equipment I have to make these videos, and even what office chair I'm sitting in. So I thought it'd be fun to make a 2023 office tour to show you my home studio, all the equipment I use to make these videos, and even what's on the bookshelf behind me. So let's take a look. The thing I get asked about probably the most is what my machine is and what all the specifications are. So I'll put all of those up on screen right now. You can pause the video if you want to read all of the specs in depth, but I made an entire video dedicated to purchasing this computer from Puget Systems, having it custom built for me and replacing a laptop that I was working on before. You can hear that whole story and why I switched from a laptop to a Puget System. Just click on the card above and you can watch that whole video. And by the way, I tried to find a link for basically everything that I cover in this video so that if you're interested, you can go check it out. And I used my Amazon affiliate links wherever possible so that I could earn a small commission if you do choose to purchase something after following one of those links. That's a really easy way for you to support this channel without having to do anything extra. Outside of the machine itself, I have two monitors, the first one being a BenQ PD3200U, 32-inch screen at 4K resolution. I really like this monitor, it's really nice and big, but recently I actually got a second monitor. This one is an Asus PB279Q, also 4K resolution. A friend actually gave it to me, he didn't need it anymore, and I really appreciate that because it has made such an impact on my ability to just move things over to a second screen that I don't need to see all the time, like my OBS monitor for when I'm recording these videos or screen recording. Just being able to have a second screen with the same amount of real estate is so nice when I'm actually doing work on my primary monitor. I use the Logitech MX Keys keyboard. It's a wireless keyboard, very flat profile, very similar to the keyboards that come with the iMacs, which is what I was used to prior to this machine. And I use the Razer DeathAdder V2 gaming mouse. This is the USB corded version. I got my speakers at Costco. They're the Kilps Pro Media 2.1 THX computer speakers. Really great sound, nice subwoofer, surprisingly no power switch, so they're just always on. That's kind of annoying, but oh well. I have the autonomous Ergo Chair Pro for my office chair. Really comfortable, great lumbar support, nice neck rest. Everything is very adjustable. I do have a drawing tablet monitor, the XP Pen Artist 16 2nd Gen. I can actually use the camera that I'm recording on right now as my webcam, but just as a USB webcam, I have the Logitech C920, which is just a solid 1080p webcam for when I don't have my camera set up. For external storage, I have a variety of external hard drives, but the ones that I've been using the most lately are the Samsung SSD T7 series, which I have both 1 terabyte and 2 terabyte versions. This is what I put all of my YouTube content on. I record directly to these drives. They go through USB-C. They work really, really well, but with that, I'm taking up a lot of USB ports. So I actually use an external dock as well, the CalDigit TS3 Plus Thunderbolt 3 dock, which I actually purchased for my laptop so I could have much more input for all the things that I needed to attach to my laptop. And that laptop is a Razer Blade. You can again learn more about that and why I don't use it quite so much anymore in the video where I got this Puget machine. And last but not least, the most recent addition to my office setup is my desk, the Flexispot E4 dual motor sit-to-stand desk with a bamboo top. And Flexispot is the sponsor of this video. They sent me this desk at no charge in exchange for sharing my experience with you. And I'll tell you what, I love this desk. There are lots of different combinations of colors for both the base and the top. You can completely customize how you want it to look. But I went with the bamboo top that's 60 inches wide by 30 inches deep because that fits my office space the best. I'm kind of in a small room. It's maybe 12 by 14 feet, but it actually works really great in my space. It gives me plenty of desktop surface and allows me to make these videos with all the crazy equipment we're about to cover really easily. And I actually tried to take a time lapse of me taking down my old desk and assembling this one, but of course my camera overheated and I didn't realize it until it was all over. So you just get to see the results of my work and how it looks in the end. I'll be honest, I was a little bit skeptical about having a sit-to-stand desk. I didn't know how often I'd want to be standing while working, but let me tell you, once you actually do this and experience it yourself, I think you're gonna really like it. It's something that I've actually been trying to do more each day. I feel like when I'm recording voiceover for some of my videos or any of the content I'm making, I do better performances while I'm standing. So why don't we go ahead and do that right now? There's a really easy to use control here down on the right side of my desk with 3 different presets that you can set for different heights of your desk, as well as manual up and down controls if you really want to fine tune the positioning of your desk. It's really nice and smooth, super quiet, which I appreciate. You probably can't even hear the motors through this recording, but my favorite part is that my entire production setup, the lights, the microphone, the camera are all attached to the desk. So I can go straight into this standing position and keep on recording without having to do any extra setup or adjustments. And just because the motors are quiet doesn't mean that they're not strong. This desk can actually support 220 pounds of weight, which means that I could actually take my desktop up off the floor and set it on the desk and it would be able to handle it no problem. I might even undermount it under the desk, I'm not quite sure yet, but it can totally support that weight. But what I'm most impressed about this desk is that even at its maximum height, I can shake this desk. I can do anything I want on the desktop and it doesn't really shake. It's very sturdy, which is not the case with my old desk. I wouldn't have to move it much at all and the whole thing would wobble. And because my camera is attached to the desktop, that wobble came through the camera shake a lot more dramatically than this one does here. So I really appreciate the sturdiness of this desk, even at its maximum height. And the controls of the desk allow you to really precisely set the height of this desk, complete with a readout of what height it's currently at, and then you can again program 3 different presets, so I can just press the button to set the desk height to be exactly what I want. So ultimately, I highly recommend the Flexispot line of desks. I have had no issues with this one. The only thing that I was slightly concerned with was the thickness of this bamboo top. It's only about 1 inch thick, and I mount this massive pole, which you're about to see, to the desk. So I was a little worried that I wasn't gonna be able to hold all of that weight securely, but I have had 0 issues, and like I said, it's very, very sturdy. So go check out Flexispot. I put a link in the description to this desk as well as to Flexispot's website, so you can browse all of their products, but I highly recommend them, and thank you so much, Flexispot, for sponsoring this video. Now let's take a look at the actual production equipment that I use to make these videos. The camera I'm using to film this video is the Sony ZV-1, which is nothing fancy. It's an affordable 4K camera, really great picture quality, but it doesn't have interchangeable lenses or anything, but it works really well for this office setup. And I connect the video output from that camera directly to my computer using an Elgato 4K 60 Pro capture card, which allows me to get a 4K video feed directly into OBS so that I don't have to do any internal recording on the camera's SD card and then transfer video files. It makes the process really, really quick. If you want to see more about how I actually record these videos and screen recordings and bake in all of the video in Premiere, I would love to make a video about that. Leave a comment down below if you're interested in my OBS and entire recording setup. The camera itself is attached to a small rig cage, which means I can mount from above so that the arm it's attached to doesn't get in the way of my screen when I'm doing my recordings. That cage is attached to a Per-Gear TH3 Pro ball head, just a nice little ball head tripod mount. It's upside down, and that is attached to a Wally 3-section monitor arm. Now this is going to take us to kind of the spine of my entire structure for how I'm holding all this production equipment. So this is what it looks like. It's a hefty Wally monitor arm mount, and this clamps to the backside of my desk. And it's basically just a big pole that all of these other arms can be slid on and attached to very customizably. And this whole system is really designed for monitors, and that's actually what my second monitor is attached to, a 2-section Wally mount arm. But for the camera, I have a 3-section arm that allows me to move it around a little bit more freely. It can extend out further, and because I have the camera attached to that ball head mount, I can also use this camera as a top-down view of my desk. So if I want to put anything down here on my desk and record it, it's very easy to do. The microphone I use for when I'm on camera is the Rode VideoMic Go 2, which is a tiny shotgun mic that I think has exceptional sound quality, and that is attached to a Neewer mic arm that's just clamped onto another one of my Wally sectional monitor arms. Now, when I'm not on camera, I use the microphone that I originally purchased when I started getting into tutorials, which is the Audio-Technica AT2020 USB version, which looks and sounds like this. And obviously I can put my mouth much closer to this microphone, so that's why it has a different sound quality. Like I said, it's what I use when I'm not on camera because I don't have to worry about it being in view and in the way of my keyboard, which has been an issue in the past. That's why I love having the shotgun mic mounted above the camera that's completely out of view and out of my line of sight to what I'm actually trying to look at, the screen or my keyboard. But this microphone is mounted to a Neewer universal 45mm shock mount, and that's attached to another Neewer mic arm, and I have a pop filter installed as well, which really helps for words like pre-comp when I have popping sounds coming out of my mouth. For the lighting, I have a few different types of lights. The first main key light that's lighting me up here on the side is the Flexispot FL2850 1 foot by 2 foot bicolor flexible LED matte. Unfortunately, this is not available on Amazon anymore. I don't know if they stopped making it, but it's a really high quality light. It's very bright, and I love the bicolor features so that I can really dial in the color tone that I want. And then it has a soft panel overlay to make it more like a softbox. Now, I've made my own custom light grid for this light so that it fits. It's made out of poster board, but what that allows me to do is light myself and focus that light so that it's hitting me and not so much on the background there, lighting up that back wall. So that's why I made that light grid. That light is also attached to a ball head. It's a different one. This is the Ansem tripod ball head, which is much simpler and more affordable than the other ball head that I have for the camera itself, but that is attached to another Wall-E 3-section monitor arm. Again, giving me extra range than just having it on a 2-section arm, so I can really pull this around and move it, whether I'm filming something here on my desk or myself. For this rim light, that's this teal color you're seeing, is the QEUI, I don't know how to say that, 2-pack RGB LED light. And I'll be honest, I only bought this because of the price. It's very affordable. It comes with 2 lights as well as stands. This rim light, the teal one, is on another Neewer mic arm. Also has an Ansem tripod ball head, the same as my key light, and that's also attached to a Wall-E 2-section monitor arm. I don't need quite the range since I also have the mic arm that allows me to really extend this out as far as I need it to be. The second light from that pack is actually behind me. It's right here behind my chair. I have that attached to a Shaw gooseneck mount, which is just a flexible arm that can clamp onto any surface, and that works perfectly because it can be hidden behind my office chair and it keeps everything off the floor. That's another goal with my entire production setup, is to not have any light stands that are taking up a bunch of floor space that I don't have much of in this room. The last light I have is called a sunset projection lamp. This is kind of a novelty light, but it's what's filling in the rest of the purple there in the back wall. It projects a circle in whatever color you want, so I just did my best to match it to that brighter light at the base center of my wall. And it comes with a little flexible tripod that I've just attached to the top of the Neewer mic arm that my rim light is also attached to. And that's it for my production gear. I try to keep it as clean and simple as possible. With all of these cords though, I do have to have some kind of cable management system, and for that I have a few different methods. One is the actual clips that came with my Flexispot Desk. Underneath there are obviously some cables that attach to the 2 different motors and the control base. So Flexispot includes some of these 3M sticky clips that allow you to manage where those cables go, which is really great. But in addition to that, I also use a cable raceway kit, which allows you to just stick on these channels basically that the cords can go in and come out of at any point along your desk. It's again very customizable, so you can be precise with how you want it to be set up, as well as this under desk tray that I can put bulkier things like power bricks inside. I haven't mounted that to the underside of this desk yet, but it is something that I plan to do. And finally, to just manage the bulk of cables coming off of the back of my desk, I use this Alex Tech 10-foot 1¼ inch cord protector. It's basically this long sleeve that wraps around all of the cords and it keeps it all nice and tidy. I really like this system because it's not hard to set up. It's easy to take cords in and out if I need to, and it just manages all of that into one single cable, which I think just looks so much better than tons of cables coming out of the back of my desk. So that is my office setup, that is my production gear. Now let's get to the thing that everybody's been waiting for, what's on my bookshelf. Let's start with the Lego sets. The Lego Movie is my favorite movie of all time, and I have a few sets from that movie. First of all is Benny's Spaceship, Spaceship, Spaceship! Emmett's Constructomech, Super Cycle Chase, and of course, the double-decker couch, complete with Ghost Vitruvius. Another one of my big sets is the Imperial Star Destroyer, as well as a Millennium Falcon microfighter. I have the DeLorean Time Machine. This is the first smaller Lego Ideas version. And then I have a collection of mostly complete classic space Legos that came from a bulk purchase off of Nextdoor. And here they all are. We have the Beta 1 Command Base, the FX Star Patroller, the Surface Explorer, the Solar Power Transporter, the Lunar Rocket Launcher, and the Space Dart. I also have the LEGO Mindstorms Droid Developer Kit, which I got as a kid and it's still working. R2-D2 is still as crazy as ever. Other items on my desk include Weird Al Yankovic pop vinyls that were a gift from a friend, a white and nerdy action figure that I got from a Weird Al concert, Weird Al Yankovic coffee beans called Jackson Park Espresso, and one of my most prized possessions, a limited edition screen print of Weird Al's greatest hits, autographed by Weird Al himself. I actually got to meet him when I used to live in LA and have him sign it. That was one of the coolest things that ever happened to me while I was living in California. In other music-related merch, I am also a huge Mute Math fan. I have a signed copy of their self-titled CD, and I used to have a poster of theirs behind me as well. There's just not as much wall space as I would like to have, but I also have a Mute Math book, and I have all of their records on vinyl. So actually I have quite a lot of Mute Math related stuff that I'd like to show. I just don't have the wall space for it. There's also this Mario question mark block. I could not find this on Amazon. It was gifted to me by my wife, but it is a very cool light. It makes the coin sound when you turn it on and off. Also one of my favorite things. There are a few other smaller things that kind of rotate in and out of the bookshelf, but that's the majority. So that really concludes my office tour. I hope that you enjoyed this. If you have any questions about the gear that I use or anything else on my bookshelf, I'm happy to discuss it. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you thought about this style of video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.